coming to you live with part two to the inner pandemic, a sick state of living. We're now bringing to you mental medicine, internal healing. The scripture will be Proverbs 17 and 22. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. I got my block builder team with me, and would y'all like to give any word on the scripture that we're speaking from? Okay. Well, I chose that because the topic is mental medicine. And my first point would be in mental medicine would be, why is medicine necessary? Is medicine necessary? And the scripture says that a joyful heart is good medicine. So the scripture acknowledges that there is a spiritual connotation and a mental connotation to medicine being good. It also says that a broken spirit drieth up the bones. So it also lets you know that there's a bad effect that comes with certain things like having a broken spirit. So that medicine is mentioned in the word and is needed. So back to my first topic of discussion on this subject, what is medicine? And I think that's a good place to start when we're discussing mental medicine, because if you want to be taking medicine, I'm sure you want to know what it is.
Medicine is something given to heal, to help, or to change the outcome of whether it's current.
Yeah.
Like Sis said, medicine, it heals an ailment that someone may be suffering from, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual. That's what medicine is to me.
Medicine to me is pretty much a process, which means it's not going to happen overnight. But if you endure, you'll get better.
Yeah. All those, I agree with all those. I'm going to give the definition that I got from Webster for medicine. And there's two definitions, and they're both nouns. One is idea, so it's the practice, and one is actually a thing. Like so, one definition for medicine is the science or practice and the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease, sometimes including surgery. So medicine, one definition of it is the science or practice of the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease. The next definition is a compound or a preparation used for treatment or prevention of disease, especially a drug or drugs taken by mouth. And drugs just being a word that you can interchange for medicine. So those are the two definitions that the dictionary gives us. So we have medicine being then in two forms. One, the idea and the practice of it, and one, the actual medicine itself. Y'all want to speak on either one of those definitions? Okay.
I mean, just listening to it, it is, we always speak about terminology and how you can speak in regards to a situation, just the different terms and meaning difference. That just basically made everything that we said as far as what medicine meant to us, that was just in a, I don't want to say that wouldn't be biblical, but in a scientific form, I guess you can say.
It was y'all opinions.
Grammatic. Right.
It was y'all opinions on what medicine meant to y'all. So I mean, it waited, it could be incorrect. I just brought these two definitions to show that there's a practice of it. There's a practice of medicine, and there's also medicine that you take.
Okay.
So I want to now get into mental medicine being similar to physical medicine. And what I mean by that is when you get sick physically, you go to the doctor or to the hospital and you're prescribed some physical form of medicine for whatever ailment you may have. And mental medicine is kind of the same thing. But a lot of people don't realize that there's a such thing as mental trauma and emotional trauma, and mental scars and emotional scars. So just like you wouldn't get into a car accident or suffer a severe injury and then go to the hospital, and when they try to prescribe you some medicine after your diagnosis, you wouldn't tell them, no, I'm not taking that. I don't want to take the medicine. You take it because you know that's what it takes to heal. But all the time we deal with situations that are mental and emotional, and we forego what could be the mental medicine to help the situation heal. And they like to say time heals all. They like to say things like you'll get over it, pray about it. And a lot of things, a lot of times these mental wounds, we allow them to heal on their own, and they don't heal correctly. Just
right.
like if a physical injury, for example, I broke a shoulder blade and it didn't heal correctly. It healed back on its own because you can't put a cast on your shoulder blade, and it didn't heal correctly. But that's just one of the things that you deal with when you can't, when something has to heal on its own. It's no guarantee that it's going to heal back right. And that's why I've said that's why we gave the definition in the first place about the practice of medicine. That's why there's a need to practice medicine, because it gives us a better chance of healing after we experience traumas. But another thing that affects that is certain communities, certain cultural stimuli, and how they seek help for what we would call mental medicine. Because it's a stigma with some cultures and communities to seek that kind of help. It'd be perfectly okay if you got shot to go to the hospital and get help. But if you're getting abused, mentally, verbally, not physically, but like mentally or verbally, or you're going through a situation that's giving you mental damage, then they'll tell you just suck that up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm speaking on as far as certain communities having certain stigmas on mental health and wellness. Anybody else want to tap in on that?
No, I mean, just when you say cultures, you just think of diversity. Many times, let's just say predominantly in the black household, we say, "What go on in my house, stay in my house," So to go get some form of assistance, unless you're somebody that's basically for the revenue, you know what I mean? If it's not about the dollar, for the most part, most people aren't going to go seek that type of assistance.
Yeah, and a lot of times it be at the detriment to them, because as we just said, when you allow those things to heal on their own, everyone has a way that they deal with pain. Some are productive and some are not, but everybody's going to find a way. No one is just going to sit there in pain, period. They're going to try to find some way to alleviate the pain. They may know a good way, they may know a bad way, they may do it through various ways at the same time. But no one's going to sit there in pain. So the thing about that is it becomes, if they don't know that they can go and get help, that they can go and get mental medicine, then they start to do just like you would do with, say, you broke an arm, but you didn't want to go to the hospital for whatever reason. You would self-medicate. You would find some kind of pain pills, some kind of way. You would get a hold to them, and you would just self-medicate. And that's what people would do, the same thing with mentally. They don't know what to do to get help, or they don't want to take the steps necessary to get help, because a lot of times people will know exactly what mental medicine they need. Like they say they experience a childhood trauma and they know that they need to go talk to somebody about it, but they can't do it. They can't bring themselves to do it for whatever reason, so they just self-medicate in other ways. Like and that could go out destructively, or maybe they could channel it constructively, but a lot of times it's destructive in nature. So, but another thing is we can move into how mental medicine is applied. Does anybody want to take a shot at how you apply mental medicine now that we know that it's the counterpart, basically, of physical medicine? It's just the counterpart.
Basically, I take it as if you acknowledge that there is medicine is needed, or as you stated, the practice is needed. And so once you can identify it, then you can actually seek those different things that could actually assist you with the mental medicine.
Yeah.
To me, mental medicine have to be applied repeatedly. You got to keep applying it until you heal, until you get better, until you understand that you're not stuck. That you're not stuck, in that situation. That it is a way out, that you can get better. Because like you said, whether it's, verbal abuse or, did you say physical?
All of them,
Well,
for the most part.
the physical abuse can it can be physical, because physical
a
abuse
lot of
affect you
time
mentally.
that causes mental issues,
Correct.
because like sis said, most people say what happens here stays here. You don't go out telling my business, this and that, just as well as a lot of stuff be brought from other people's house to your house, and like introduce your kids to something that they never imagined or never knew, because that's what went on in somebody else's household. And well, for me, mental medicine is nature. I love nature. Like I go
Me too.
and I can sit on the riverbank, and I've seen this riverbank a million times. I mean, I'm from the edge, but it's just a piece to me, and it's I'm gonna say it's a faraway reality.
Yeah.
Because it takes you far away, but it keeps you in tune with reality at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's just a piece right then that to get you a little bit further in the situation and let you know you ain't stuck.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, it's something simple as the birds flying over the water. We can't fly over the water, but it's the other side for them to get to. So we know this is just a pass through. The phase that we in is just a pass through. So we got to do what we have to do to keep healing, to get better.
Mental medicine for me, oftentimes I still think about the things that I went through as a child, and I have to renew my mind just to reassure myself, to let me know like it didn't happen to me just for me to just keep it to myself. It's a testimony that I can help somebody else get through, So we're renewing my mind and reassuring myself that everything gonna be all right. Reassuring myself that everything gonna be all right. It just let me know, like, man, if I can do this, if I can get through it, I can help somebody else get through it, and they might not know the steps,
Yeah. And everybody, y'all basically just described to us the type of mental medicine that y'all take, which is good, because there are different types. But do anybody want to speak on how mental medicine is applied?
Well, I think LB did speak in regards to that, because she said you got to continue to take it in. And so applying it, I think that will be on the lines of what Bro was saying, renewing the mind. You applying it by the environment or the tone that you're in, the company you keep, the readings you take in, the things that you see, the music we listen to. Basically, you know, the word says, be careful what comes into our eye gate and our ear gate. And so medicine don't have to only be taken in the form of in your mouth, you know what I mean? We medicine, man, it's like food, you know, what we put in. You're gonna reap something of what you put in, you gotta take something, get something out of it.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to go over the different types of medicine. And as far as you having to take the medicine consistently, you know, consistent application is just as important as the dosage. They go together. The dose you should take and how consistently. So, yeah, that is a big part of mental medicine, and there is multiple ways you can take it in. Like when she said to watch the riverbank, to go and sit at the riverbank. That's one form. So there's different forms like, well, we'll go over them because I'm gonna go over all the different types of medicine, and then we can go over the different types of mental medicine. But how mental medicine is applied is mental medicine is administered internally by the spirit. And when I say mental medicine is administered internally by the spirit, I mean, like, there are medicines that you take that can affect your mind, but that's not mental medicine. Those are medicines that affect your brain functioning. Mental medicine is to heal the trauma and to treat the trauma and the wounds from the mind. And it's administered on the inside by your spirit. Like, that's based on what bro was saying, by the renewing of the mind.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I always think of the scripture that says, greater is he that's within me than he that's of the world. Simply because those on the outside, they can only see the man on the outside, but because you know who's on the inside working it out for you, it calls some assurance, it calls some renewing of the mind, it calls some thankfulness, all that, what you need, that joy you were speaking about at the beginning. Read that scripture you said from the beginning of it. That you, about the joyful heart.
Proverbs 17:22, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones.
That's medicine. We always say laughter good for the soul, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a form of that medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can move into why is medicine necessary? Anybody want to just tap in on why medicine is even necessary?
You said it, for the healing. If you want to heal, and if this is just, it's necessary to take this medicine in order that you see, you visually, physically, emotionally see the healing, you got to take the medicine. But this the thing, in taking the medicine, you got to believe that the medicine you taking is going to apply, like you applying it to your situation, you got to believe that it's going to work your situation out.
Yeah.
Basically, it's got to be some hope. That goes back to that faith topic you spoke on.
Yeah, and I also have some scriptures that just, because mental medicine has to be necessary because it's just mentioned so much in the word, and we know that we deal with issues internally, mentally and spiritually. So if it would speak so much on medicine and healing, then you know that that's something that you have to seek for your spirit and your mind as well as your physical body. So also I have Psalms 143:3. It says, he heals the brokenhearted, binding up their injuries. And then we also know the scripture that by his stripes we are healed. So he speak on it throughout the scripture that you will incur wounds and you will need, and like in the Proverbs 17:22, that there is medicine for it, and there's also things that you can do that's detrimental. And in Psalms 143:3 it says he heals the brokenhearted. So it said binding up their injuries. So a broken heart is referred to like an injury. Mm-hmm. So it lets you know that you will go through trauma that's not physical. And he said, by his stripes that we are healed. So
Well, what about he'll comfort the comfortless?
yeah, all that. All that. And, it's the last one that I want to speak on is Ecclesiastes 3:3. And it's a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. So that lets you know that healing is a process. That there's a time for it that you have to set aside for healing, just like a time for peace and a time for war. So my next question would be, does anyone want to take a guess at how long medicine has been around?
For decades and decades and decades. He's the same yesterday, forevermore. Forever and ever.
We ain't gonna stay on this one long.
Okay.
But this just to throw in there that people have been using medicine. They have it dated back as early as 60,000 years ago of people using medicine.
I mean, when you think of rituals and stuff like that, that is medicine. Right now, just look at how a lot of people are going and like doing this health thing, and they think eating more plants and
Plant-based.
yeah, that's a form of medicine to me. You know what I mean? When I think about it, because it's healthier, it's for healing. You know, to detox your body from all the things that you've encountered, or
Well,
continue to consume.
I'll just say this in regards to that. I won't go too far off the question, but I'll say this in regards to that. When creation was made, there was no intention to be moved outside of the garden, right? So there was no
Correct.
intention for there to ever be a Walgreens pharmacy and a CVS and all that, right? So that must mean the medicine is in the food. Okay. The right food. But we'll just leave it at that, and we'll let people,
I mean, for the most part, quote unquote, we woke. That's what we say. So everybody realizing that we eating a little more of what ain't no good for us. Shoot, it's popping over there. At the chicken house. You feel me? I'm talking about.
We consume a lot of poison.
Of course.
We consume a lot of poison, but. Moving back to the question, modern medicine been in effect since the 1800s. That's when they started calling it modern medicine, as far as surgeries and diagnoses and things like that. But as early they have it recorded as 60,000 years, but that's just when they recorded it. They may have been using medicine far before that. And I only say that to say that for them to have been using it for so long, then medicine must be effective. It must be an effective way to cure, fight, prevent disease and sickness. Now, with that, I just want to ask, can you remember the first dose of medicine that you took?
Not my first dose,
course
because
not.
I mean, I'm sure I was a baby.
Well, I don't mean like the very first dose. I just mean from the first time that you can remember taking some medicine.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
guess what? It wasn't prescribed either.
Yeah.
Like as the seasons change, like we're coming into the fall, you was gonna line up and get that castor oil. Everybody was gonna get that.
I heard that. We ain't come up during that era.
That's the remedies.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
but that's that medicine. You heard what I said?
And it
Feel
worked
me?
too.
Exactly. Man.
Oh Lord.
My first medicine that I can remember taking is the Flintstone vitamins.
Ooh, man.
As a kid, that's the first
Hey.
thing that I can remember taking because I'm seeing my parents take medicine, and when they give me that feels like that's my medicine. Okay, I'm taking I'm taking the medicine too. So I remember that my first thing being the Flintstone.
Well, guess how mine was. You brought up the Flintstones. That's how far I can remember. I never forget it. We stayed in Highland Park, and me and Shakita would riding our bike. We would stop every few minutes. I'm like, "Good, I gotta take my medicine." We ate the whole bottle, man. We got in trouble. We ate the whole bottle in one day. I'm surprised I ain't no Flintstone.
body full of micronutrients.
For real.
You know, having too much micronutrients is like your zinc, your iron.
Too much of anything will kill you.
Too much of that
Right.
built up. Like for example, too much protein built up in your kidneys. It's horrible. For you.
They was powered up for about 3-4 days.
Man.
Okay, but can you remember when you had to take your first dose of mental medicine?
December the 11th, 2011.
Yeah, I was gonna before that, mine was it was October the 29th in 1998. Well, my grandma died, and the night of her funeral, I had epilepsy growing up, and I had a grand mal seizure that lasted almost 20 minutes. And after that, like I was, like just from everybody seeing and stuff like that, like I had to take some mental medicine off of that because I was like, what's wrong with me? So that was, I can remember taking that as my first dose because we remember that. And so taking medicine as far and as well as being wounded and sustaining damage is memorable, but taking medicine in the healing process is memorable too. Starting it, and it's power in that.
That part.
Now let's move to the different classifications and types of medicines, like that, and that's what you were describing earlier with the like sitting at the riverbank, like just the different types of mental medicines that you can have. And it go from, like, as far as like their physical counterparts, they go from prescription to over the counter. And prescription is having to be prescribed by a doctor or a nurse practitioner, something like that. And over the counter is anybody can just go and purchase it. So there's different classifications of medicine, and there's different types of medicine. Like, I'm just gonna go over 11 types with you. And Bro gonna know what I'm talking about with his background in the medical field. So if I'm saying any of these terms wrong, feel free to correct me. Yeah.
That's right. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So we have antipyretics, which is they reduce fever. Analgesics, which reduce pain. Anti-malarial drugs that treat malaria. Antibiotics that inhibit germ growth. Antiseptics that prevent germ growth near burns, cuts, and wounds. Mood stabilizers, hormone replacements, oral contraceptives, stimulants, tranquilizers, and statins. And statins lower cholesterol. So there's many different types of medicines, and there's different types of medicines in the different classifications. Like
So listening at that, it was all about whether or not it was for a burn. You said something about germs, right?
Prevent germs.
You was thinking of the different classifications.
Those aren't the classifications. Those are the different types. The classifications would be like prescription versus over the counter.
Okay.
Those were the different types of medicine. Now you can have different types in the different classifications. Like for example, it say antipyretics reduces fever. Tylenol fever. Analgesics reduces pain. Tylenol pain. Over prescription Tylenol 4.
Tylenol 3.
You can't just go buy them over the counter. So it's different. It's many different.
It's about the power and all
types.
that of the.
It's about the dosage and consistent applications. But I say that to say why there's so many different types of medicines.
Because there's so many different types of wounds, so many different types of illness, so many different types of diseases. We spoke on different phases. There's so many different phases of that. Okay, all right, I'm preaching something.
That's the exact reason, because there's many different types of wounds and damage that people sustain, and also because every medicine don't work for everybody.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So there has to be different types for those two reasons. For example, and like we discussed, mental medicine is just the counterpart to physical medicine. That's why I'm saying these as far as like there's different classifications of physical medicine. There's different types, because it's the same thing with mental medicine. Like that, you were speaking on the types of mental medicine earlier. Like for example, you have to know, because it could have somebody and they could be suffering. Their temperament could be an angry person. They could have an angry temperament. And then you tell them, you prescribe them the mental medicine of go meditate on your problem. And they go and they just meditate on it, and it makes them even more mad. So that didn't work for them. Versus you prescribe them the mental medicine of, hey, you need some talk therapy. You need some talk therapy counseling, and they go speak with a counselor, and that will work for them, where the meditation wouldn't, where there's somebody out there who has anxiety about speaking with people about things, but they could sit there and meditate on it, and it will work better for them.
Right.
Versus, that's why they have to be different types, because it works for different people.
Different strokes, different folks.
Different strokes for different folks. And you could use it in combination. You could take that same person with that angry temperament, direct them to some talk therapy counseling, where they could be given a new perspective, and then they could meditate on the problem from the new perspective and get the benefits of both. Just like if you in the hospital and they giving you a strong pain medicine, they're also going to give you something for your stomach to keep that strong pain medicine from making you constipated and not being able to go to the bathroom. So just like physical medicine is
whatever they give you, they have to give you something to work with it. Because
go ahead.
I pretty much can't take strong medicine. Like I'm a L7 when it comes to meds. Like I can't at all. It would have me sick. And when I say sick, like most people can take the extreme pain medicines regardless of what type of surgery I have, how much pain I'm in. I can't take it because it'll have me literally sick for days. And it's like I can't get over the nauseousness. So they always have to prescribe me something for nausea anytime I get pain medicine, because they know it makes me sick. So pretty much whatever you're applying for your mentalness, you're going to have to find something that go hand in hand with it too, because we take medicine for so long and be like, this medicine ain't working, or this not getting better, and that's not the case. It's working behind the scenes. So we will apply something else to get us further in our healing. But I'm just an L7 when it comes to medicine.
So we can come to the conclusion, and we can reasonably deduce that mental medicine is necessary, just like physical medicine. So I just want to I want to bring it back to the definition that we started off with the mental medicine. What is medicine? And the definition was the science or practice of the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease. Okay. Now, we just determined that medicine is indeed necessary. Mental medicine is necessary. Physical medicine is necessary. Can anybody point out what's wrong with this definition of medicine? I'm going to read it again for y'all. The science or practice of the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease.
How you gonna prevent it if it's already occurred?
Or is it something else? I'm missing something?
I was gonna say, the thing about medicine is, medicine doesn't always work. So, when you were saying, getting diagnosis.
Diagnosis.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, when you get diagnosed with something, it doesn't mean that this is exactly what's gonna help you, because just like you see all the time, they always have the side effects include headaches, migraines, diarrhea, upset stomach,
The after
bloating,
effects.
yeah, pretty much. So it's like the diagnosis.
Diagnosis.
Okay, I had to make sure I said it right. Yeah,
So in
So
other
pretty
words,
much,
you get
yeah.
everything but the healing.
exactly. That's why I feel like might be missing out in the medicine.
Wow, that's deep.
And Cam kind of hit it. It says, medicine is the science or practice of diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease. Nowhere in there does it says the cure. So medicine does not cure. Medicine cannot cure because the only thing that can cure is
The creator.
exactly. That's why mental medicine is necessary. Mental medicine is beneficial, just like physical medicine. But in taking your mental medicine, there's also another step, which is learning how to heal and then living freely once you've been healed. But we'll touch on that next time.
Okay.